Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is our follow-up video of the snowblowing video. That video was on Saturday and, well, released on Saturday. It was filmed a couple of weeks earlier when we had the snow and warmer weather. Many of you know that I am way up here in northern Wisconsin. I've shared some of the forecast pictures on the community tabs post. So in the community tab, we got the post where I showed those pictures. So Friday night was minus 27 degrees, I believe, was what we woke up to in the morning. Minus 29 Fahrenheit. That's freaking cold. I don't know what that is in Celsius because that doesn't matter here. And then Saturday morning, I woke up to minus 37.6, almost minus 38 degrees. And it actually got a little colder. I took pictures. I'm sharing them here on the screen. It actually got a little colder. It almost hit negative 38. That's really freaking cold. But, you know, really it's not that bad. You know, we didn't go out and do anything, so it's not that terrible. In fact, this morning I woke up to minus 26 again. So we're almost out of this cold snap. Next week is looking like it's going to be a little bit cooler. Highs in the single digits, lows in the negatives, single negatives. So not as bad, but really it's not that terrible. I mean, dress accordingly. The nice thing about weather like that is it keeps the area pristine because nobody wants to be here. And as I've explained it to my friends and family, it takes a special kind of stupid to want to live here. And I want to live here, so that explains a lot. But it really does keep the area nicer because it keeps out the undesirable. You know, we don't have crime, not like anywhere else in the warmer climates. We don't have garbage everywhere like the warmer climates. You know, it's nicer here, with the exception of what's going on over in Minnesota right now. But that's further south and over there, thank God. Anyway, today is our follow-up video, Wednesday follow-up video, and about the snowblower. That was fun. That was a fun video to make. And if I did not respond to your comments, that's because I use your comments. I don't respond to them, so I can search the unresponded comments and find the ones I want to address. So we had a lot of good questions, a lot of comments. It was a good video. I am disappointed in the view duration. The average view duration of that video was 6 minutes. So people are losing interest really quickly. It's very disgusting. You know, you put that much work into a video, and I'm not the only creator that sees this. It's really disgusting. It's you put a lot of work into something and then nobody watches the whole thing, and then they ask questions that are addressed within the video, which is normal for my videos. This video, we didn't talk much, so that was good. So any questions will be addressed here. And the one big question was the water in the air filter, so I did not check it afterwards, but I guarantee you that's where it's coming from. Is it's getting sucked up into the motor, blowing past the cylinders, melting, and then sucked up in the air intake and then solidifying in the oil. That's what's going on. I'm sure of it. It makes total sense. But it's so cold out there, I'm not taking that cover off, you know, that bowl off and checking it. But there were a lot of comments about building shrouding and all this crap. You don't want to choke a Wisconsin engine. They need that air, a lot of air. And the idea I'm having for that air intake is maybe redirecting it and putting a collar around that exhaust pipe and then pulling the air from around the exhaust, so the exhaust will warm that air as it comes past it, because that's what's basically happening. It's pulling the warm air from under the hood through that air intake. So if I can pull it from around the exhaust, that might cure that. Or it's snow. There's really no dirt in it. Maybe not put any oil in the air filter anyway. You know, there's a lot of options here, but I'm guaranteeing that's where it's coming from. I did not check it though. So let's dive into some of the questions because there were some good ones. All right, so there were a bunch of questions about the angle of the discharge, and what people refuse to see is there is angle there. It is kicking it out. And I don't understand that. Why people can't see what's directly in front of their faces. This is happening everywhere in this country. But This one, why the straight pipe to the sky? Seems to aerate the snow and generate your own snowstorm, particularly into wind. Wouldn't a simple 90-degree bend work to blow the snow sideways to be more efficient? And then he addressed the idea of the engine sucking up the water and blowing it, snow and blowing it in. And I'm going to try to put clips on this video. We'll see how that goes, just to kind of demonstrate these comments and questions. And so it's coming out backside of that chute, and I had a few people suggest some deflectors or something like that. And honestly, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to add stuff to it because that creates more restriction points, more things to hang up on. You want as smooth and straight transition as possible. Get it up, get it out. You don't want anything that can possibly build up. You want it to flow. And anywhere that snow can stick is going to create eventually build up and create a blockage. You don't want that. A lot of people commenting on the angle of the discharge, and like I said, I experimented with it. That is the best angle. You don't like it, you can blow snow however you want, but that's how I'm working it because that's how it works best with this machine. This guy asked about the loader. It's a gas engine. It's an early 1960s. It's a Huff. It's basically an international. It's a Huff H30B with a G263 gas engine, so about 85 horse. It's been a great machine. Okay, this one, just curious. It looks like you could fit the loader in the shop. Why not leave it in there to keep it warm? Because I don't have the space. Anything that is sitting in the shop is taking up room and doesn't allow me to move around. If I park it in the shop, I can't get the forklift back there to move stuff around. If I park, there's no room to maneuver. So leaving it outside doesn't hurt it at all. Just plug it in before I need to use it and warm it up. Have you ever wanted remote access to the chute functions? If so, how would you do it? I can think of 3 possibilities: cable like a bike shift mechanism, hydraulic cylinders, or electric actuators. No, I have zero desire to make this thing more complicated. Complicating things, putting more crap on it, making it more, toy functional is not good in the long run. Something that sits for 9 months, 10 months out of the year, you want it as simple as possible. The more crap you add to something, the more complex you make it, the more problems you have. Leave it alone. It doesn't take me anything to, I have it all planned out how I do the yard, and I do a couple, 4 or 5 passes, 6 passes with the chute one direction, and then I get off, and it gives me a chance to check everything out, walk around it, see if there's any issues, and then adjust the chute angle, and then go back to it. It's no big deal. It just allows me more. It's not so complicated that it's always broken. So that's why I'm not interested at all in putting more junk on it and making it more complicated. Simple is always better. I've always been a firm believer in that. Simple is always better. Every time you add extraneous crap to something, you make it more useless. Look at vehicles, for instance. All the sensors, all the computers, they're all junk now. Absolute crap. I hate modern vehicles. I'd rather have something with an ashtray because there's no sensors, there's no crap in them, no computer. You got quality, something that'll run and last. So that's why I won't add extraneous garbage to my stuff. I don't want. You make it, more user-friendly, but you just turn it into garbage in the long run. Why overcomplicate something? The blower is of the wow category. It's huge. Its own portable blizzard. How far does it throw? 100 feet or yards? Just a beast. I'm throwing it anywhere from 100 to 150 feet. So it's go. Observation. It seems that you're losing about 20% of what snow you pick up out the front of the auger. Could you rivet a few slats of old conveyor belt to the center section air gap to provide more lift out of the chute? I have seen similar mods done on 2-stage machines. Again, that's adding extraneous junk. When that auger's going and it's throwing that little bit you see coming out the front, it's still picking it up. As I go forward, it's still picking it up. So it really doesn't matter. If you start overloading it, what it's throwing out the front might be excess that it can't handle to throw it out. You never know. So just leave it alone. Keep it simple. As simpler the better. Actually, let me rephrase this. If I add that little flapper or something to it, all it's going to do is what doesn't get thrown up, it's going to carry it right back around. So it's still going to pick it up just the same as if I'm throwing it straight ahead 3-4 feet, because it isn't going that far ahead. What you're seeing going ahead is the fine powder. A few people asking about the engine. Yes, it's a V4 Wisconsin. They're a great little motor, lots of torque. Okay, here's a good one. Is it better to plow as the snow comes down or wait until it stops, then plow the driveway? So, depending on how much snow we get, when I was using the snow pusher, every 6 inches I'd go out and push it because that was so much weight as I was pushing it. The weight, I would start to spin with the loader, just couldn't push it all, so I had to do it in stages. So about every 6 inches. With the snow blower now, screw it. Wait until it's done and clean it up. It just eats it. You know, it gets into it too much, just back off on the throttle. Just keep pushing forward and just get it out of there. So yeah, I just wait until the end now. I use a lot less gas. Even running 2 engines, between the loader and the snowblower, I use way less gas plowing the snow than I did with, or blowing the snow than I did with the snow pusher. So that big difference. This one, it's good that you have the equipment to do what you have to do. If you can't get the cars out, you have sleds as a backup means of travel. Question. No, I hate snowmobiles. Absolutely despise them. Why would I want to go out and sit in the elements and freeze my ass off when I got a perfectly good 4-wheel drive? Honestly, I hate the things. Almost all of my buddies that have them have gotten rid of them now because realistically we get 1 to 2 weeks a winter of good use out of them. And then, so they sit for 11 months out of the year. You spend 2 weeks fixing them to go ride them for 2 weeks. They're an absolute waste of money for us around here. You got to trailer them to use them anywhere. They're just not worth it. And I have zero desire to have one. Like I said, 4-wheel drives and tractors I can use all year round. And I'm comfortable, warm, whatever. So, no, absolutely no snowmobiles here. This one I want to address here. It's easy to see how the snow ended up in the air filter. Do you think a cyclonic pre-filter would help with snow ingestion, or would that make too much flow restriction? That one's a good one. That one I think would work. Actually, I think it would work really well. Just would have to find one and then fit it on there somehow. So that one I might look into a little bit, see if I can find a used one on eBay or something and try to fit it to it and see if that would just do it. That was a great suggestion, question. Definitely going to look into that. Here's another one talking about a pre-filter, but I think that cyclonic pre-filter that separates dust, that would be the best option. All right, this one addresses a few different things. Pretty impressive snow movement for a Wisconsin power plant and a single-stage blower. Questions. Are the gathering wings a factory item or added later? Those were factory. Those were factory on there. I would like to extend them actually and get myself a little more width. And did you check the air cleaner for snow water when you were done? And I hope you are done with that machine until you need to move logs again. Well, unfortunately, I'm not done with that machine until I need to move logs again. Gonna have to blow more snow, I'm sure of it. And I'm hoping, because that made a fun video. I did not check the air cleaner, as I said earlier. So I would like to, but it's just too freaking cold out there right now. Today is Sunday, and it's 25 below zero right now outside. Just cold. All right, do you have control of the chute from inside the cab, or do you adjust it manually? It's all manual. I'm going to leave it that way. No intentions of changing it. Lots of questions about the air filter. So, and I'll check that later on when things warm up, and we'll see. I'm guaranteeing that's what's going on. It was just sucking up that snow. Another one addressing the angle of my chute and telling me I'm doing it wrong. Ever had anything other than snow go through the auger? I think it would be pretty good at chopping up anything unfortunate enough to be in the way. Not with this snowblower, snow thrower. These are considered a thrower. They're single stage. But my old one for my Cub Cadet, I got into some stuff and it threw it. It threw it nicely. Actually, with this, I did get into some of my rocks in the yard because things weren't frozen. So it turned into a shotgun like I thought it would. Throws rocks nicely. More comments about the chute angle, how I'm doing that wrong. Just curious, do you ever have trouble with that blower because it's single stage? Everyone says dual stage is better, but I'd like to hear from a guy that owns one. I have a Walden wheel loader. That blower would look sweet on it. Yes, it would look good on a Walden. Although I think it's a little heavy for a Walden. Even those were little loaders, and mine's pretty good sized. Still considered a small loader, but so I've owned both, single stage and two stage, and I'll stick with the single stage. Simple, less to go wrong, so much easier to work on. Just like I said, simple is always better. The only thing with a single stage is you're spinning that auger so much faster. You gotta have the speed to do it, and you just pay attention to how the engine is loading. If it's starting to work really, really hard, back off. You can see it coming out the chute. When it's really loading up, it'll just start to fall out and then it'll plug up. But I don't like the two stages. We have a walk behind two stage. It works, but it's so slow. They're not fast. My old single stage, my old single stage, that thing was fast. Like, I used to clean out this whole yard with a 42-inch single stage in about an hour and a half. 2 hours at worst, and that was with a foot of snow. And now that two stage would take me all day. They're not fast at all. So if the single stage is set up properly, running at the right speeds, like as fast as you can spin them safely, they work great. There's nothing wrong with them. And a lot of comments about people saying how I need to move out of here, and glad they live in the South and all that. And as I addressed earlier, there's a good reason why I live here. It's just so much more peaceful. So much more peaceful. So as far as the next video goes, I have one in raw form. I have to edit it, but I need to be out here 3-4 hours to do that in my office that's not heated right now, just because of cost. I don't want to spend the money. So the money I would spend heating the office, the shop, to edit that video, to put it out, would almost probably cost me more than I'll make on the video from ad revenue. It's really sad that's how this is working, but that's the reality of YouTube revenue. It's not a lot. It's not as great as you hope it to be. So that's why I didn't become a full-time YouTuber as well. That customer did send me 2 of them to do, and I knocked them out one weekend here while things were still a little bit warmer, and that was probably 3 weeks ago. So that is done, and I do have a project that I'm going to be helping Alex. He is one of the mechanical engineers for one of my customers, and he's also become a friend. He's got a little shop at home, and we're going to mill his surface grinder table, flatten the table. So he's going to come over. At least this is the plan as of now. He's going to come over, and I made him the offer. Either I do it or he does it with my machines, and I film him, make him YouTube famous. And he was all for that. He's interested in it'll either be on the planer or the boring mill, but we're going to mill that table, get it flattened out for him, because he said it's got like a 15 thousandths low spot in the center. It bows. So that one is a possibility as well. Got a few things for the drag line I'm going to start working on once things warm up enough to get a little more heat in here. So lots of cool stuff coming. So with that, I hope I answered all the questions and didn't offend everybody. And thanks for watching. So sticking with me, subscribing, sharing the videos, helping grow the channel. I appreciate all that. And until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.
Too dumb to quit, too proud to cry, still grinding steel under a fading sky. The last machine shop in a frozen hell, just me and a dream I can't seem to sell. Too dumb to quit, too stubborn to die.